IVM.
$100. That's all it takes to begin your journey with Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, really. With CoinSwitch, you can start investing in over 100 cryptocurrencies with just 100 rupees. On top of that, there are zero charges for deposits and withdrawals, so you can trade, buy, sell, however and whenever you want. All of this, plus their extremely intuitive interface, makes CoinSwitch the perfect app for beginners in the crypto space. But don't take my word for it. Just download CoinSwitch for free and try it out for yourself. If you'd like more information on cryptocurrencies, tune into a show about crypto with me, Rohan Joshi, my new adventure on IVM podcasts. CoinSwitch, kuch to badlega.
Here's your smart fact of the day. A lot of people are going gaga over the new Cadbury's ad, which is a remake of an ad 20 years before, wherein, there is a gender swap or a gender reversal, wherein a very proud boyfriend storms into the stadium. And of course, you've seen this ad. But did you know that Budweiser had actually remade its ads from the 50s with hashtag See Her for International Women's Day? Which was basically, Budweiser is a masculine brand, reimagined some of its historically sexist ads. I guess maybe Ogilvy and Mather probably got a little inspired by that. I don't know. But do see the ad. Welcome to Smarter with Sid. Hey, welcome to Smarter with Sid. And before I go all over the place talking about the Cadbury's ad, this is not the reason why I'm making this episode. I'm trying to figure out, is advertising actually the new content? And I wanted to do a deep dive into that. So let's take a couple of steps back and try to understand what I'm talking about. So firstly, I'm referring to that ad that Cadbury's has made, which is a very nice, sweet ad, which there is a gender reversal, wherein, the boy had hit a 6 against all odds 20 years back, and now the girl hits a 6, and instead of the girl being a cheerleader who rushes onto the ground, the boy does the same, etc. And I think the reaction has been divided on social media. Some women have said that, I don't know what's the big deal. I think it's a little too late. I think, it's a little too safe. On the other hand, I guess Cadbury's has succeeded in achieving its objective of, getting awareness, interest, desire, and a very good connect, an emotional connect with the brand based upon the amount of positives. I mean, if Ravi Ashwin, a cricketer, has spoken about this ad and said, hey, I wish my daughters can see this ad, I guess somewhere it has left its mark. And therefore, I decided to do a bit of a deep dive and try to figure out how many ads have actually been remade. And I did come across these Budweiser ads that I was talking about. And that's interesting too. So I kind of thought that, is it like a problem that we are having? Are advertisers running out of new content options? Or is there a deeper mechanism at work? Let's try to figure this one out, right? For starters, for trying to figure it out, let's try to maybe look at some other ads also. So like I spoke about the Budweiser ad, let's talk of the Dubai Emirates ad that was there. And what started off as a sort of an air hostess making announcements through sign cards suddenly comes across as this crazy thing wherein you're seeing this air hostess on the top of Burj Khalifa towers in Dubai. And then you suddenly realize, oh, wow, what an amazing spectacle. And, this thing again got spoken about in social media. So I began to see the underlying trend over here. And I believe that this trend exists for a couple of reasons. One is that there is a singular problem of believability in any kind of advertising as far as consumers are concerned. And advertisers are finding it really difficult to cut the clutter. I mean, we skip YouTube ads, we do YouTube Premium, we have the remote control for the television, we have blind spots for print, and we are getting more and more sophisticated as far as avoiding advertising is concerned. Now, in this case, how is the poor advertiser, the poor marketing agency, the poor advertising agency supposed to break through the clutter? There was a time when I guess the move was more towards branded content, which meant that instead of advertising I guess brands were trying to put in their own signature into the movie, into the serial, but it was done in such an obvious way that I guess nobody was fooled with it. And while people do say that branded content is in, and there is a strong case for that, I believe that somewhere down the line, some smart people within the agency or within the advertising industry per se realized and decided that maybe we should create a buzz around the advertising itself and look at advertising as content, as entertainment content itself. Now, I have mixed views on this. I think that there is a positive and there is a negative, right? So if you create advertising as content, like perhaps the cred ads are, very entertaining. They're very entertaining. But again, there could be an argument, and I've talked about this in one of my earlier podcasts. It's entertaining, but how many people actually have connected to either the functional or emotional benefits of what cred is offering at in a way that they can actually recount what cred does? I don't know. I don't know. Again, of course, they might be working at a subconscious level. So I'm kind of suspending my judgment over here. But my view is that there is no straight line direct connect between advertising that is developed as content or entertainment with its primary objective and the secondary thing being the creation or the connection to demand. Right? That's where I stand currently. And I'm not convinced about advertising existing as content just for the sake of it. But on the other hand, here is an argument against what I'm saying so far. And that argument is as follows. What if this is the only way in which advertising can be actually consumed by the public? What if advertising is essentially consumed by the public as entertainment first? Well, then suddenly it all makes logical sense. You have to be entertaining, you have to enter into social media streams, and you have to be pushed along ahead by all the early adopters and innovators waiting to talk more about the latest commercial. Now, whether it's the cred thing or whether it's the, Cadbury's thing or the Dubai Emirates thing, all of them have been, picked up by a lot of social media commentators, influencers across Insta, across Twitter, across LinkedIn, and the rest of it. And they have pushed out that content. Now, how many advertising campaigns can boast of such fantastic free publicity? Now, somewhere each advertiser and their agency is thinking, if only I can get to a place wherein my advertising is accepted as social media content and is pushed virally into the networks, maybe I will get 10x the amount of awareness, which will obviously result in some more level of demand generating and trickling down to my doorstep. And maybe I would break the clutter that way. Now, that is certainly a different way of approaching this, and it has got a lot of merit. It is taking the path less trodden. It means that you are going in to create advertising to make it entertaining or, snackable first rather than, as a nice to have. You're creating demand later. I mean, if I think about the Dubai Emirates ad or the Cadbury's ad, the brand connect was kind of tangential. I mean, yes, sure, they were chewing on a Cadbury's ad 20 years back and even now, but it is something which is tangential. It is not very direct. Then maybe I think maybe the Amul holdings also had a way in which they got into your stream of consciousness because they were talking about trendy things and they were all over the place. And I've been fairly critical of the Amul holdings. And I believe that they could have only lasted if there was no serious competition to Amul, which is indeed the case, right? And that's why they could actually take the so-called high horse and put out their holdings all over the place and actually get noted for their friendly commentary, which was trendy and on point and, all of that. But today, the roles are reversed, and I think a lot of people are actually trying to create advertising as content first. And I suspect that given the success and given the deeper understanding of marketers and the ability for them to connect to trends and the increasing sophistication of the customer, we are going to see a bit of an uptick, an upsurge of this particular aspect of looking at advertising as content. Well, I hope you like this content. Certainly isn't advertising. My advertising is going to happen soon when I launch my own course on, Next Level Learning, which is a platform that I'm creating. And that would be probably advertising as advertising. I'm not going to try and even cloak it as content. But if you like The Traveling Professor, to like The Traveling Professor on Instagram, I put out a few reels now and then. And I'm also on LinkedIn where I make a few notes with these podcasts. So to connect with me, I love engaging with my community. They come from all places, wherever I've taught and wherever I'm going to teach soon. Right? And if you love podcasts like these, please go to ivmpodcast.com. Just connect and hook up to that great content out there. On that happy note then.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys. Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. In the series on podcasters, on storytellers and storytellers, Vineet talks to the founder of Kids Stop Press and host of the Raising Parents podcast, Mansi Zaveri. They talk about her journey of building one of India's most trusted parenting content brands. Tune into the Musafir Stories where Saif and Faiza speak with Hussein and Keshav, hosts of the podcast Far From Fact. They discuss lesser-known places for the weekend in Mumbai for both tourists as well as locals. On the Edges and Sledges cricket podcast, Ashwin and DJ wrap up the England versus India Test series and talk about Manchester's Test match cancellation, India's T20 World Cup squad, and the IPL 2021 restart. And on Say No to Drama, Chetna suggests time management to beat procrastination and urges us to stop glorifying working weekends. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. That is the most helpful thing that you could do to help us out. And finally, this week, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network, Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Kuber, and Intel vPro. We really do appreciate the support. This is what makes it possible.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy. If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.